Welcome to the Rising Lioness podcast on All About Animals Radio, a place dedicated to animals and all those who act to protect and advocate for them. Hi, I'm your host, Erica Salvamini, and I'm thrilled and honored to be here representing All About Animals Radio using my voice for the animals. Thank you for joining us for what intends to be a thought-provoking and soul-inspiring series where we discuss topics aimed at understanding the importance of the relationship between empathy, animal rights, and our peaceful coexistence with the animal kingdom. And now on to our show. Hello and welcome back. Today we have David and Tracy Holroyd, brother and sister authors, who together have written the Perfect Pair Dolphin Trilogy, a story to expose the dark dolphinarium industry. This is our part 2 discussion, which takes a closer look at the inspiration behind the Perfect Pair Dolphin Trilogy books. We'll also learn what transpires after David leaves this industry and where this dark dolphinarium world exists today. David, hello. Welcome back to you both, David and Tracy. David, could you tell us a bit about the inspiration for your book series and who were the real Perfect Pair dolphins? And we talked a little bit about it in part 1, but if you could talk to who these two amazing creatures were, that would be wonderful.
Okay, well, the female dolphin was Duchess, and she was the first dolphin that gave me the connection. The second dolphin was Herbie, Aqua, Flipper, and the connection came later with him. When I met Duchess, I met her in the back of a steel van. She was there wrapped up in a sling, covered in Vaseline, and she'd been out of the water for probably 48 hours in transport and all the rest of it in that sling. And while they were taking Herbie into the pool, I stayed in the back, and I'd never seen a dolphin before. As I told you earlier, I'd never actually seen a real one. So I leant over, and she was lay there, and she looked so vulnerable. And I had a signet ring on, and I shone the ring, and her eye, and I remember she had this beautiful blue eye, and it wasn't an eye of a fish, it was the eye of a human, and it was intelligent, and it looked at the ring, and this is when the connection started. She looked at the ring, and I started to talk to her, and I suddenly went very lightheaded, and I felt sick. And I thought to myself, this animal's giving me serious vibes, because that's what she was then to me. She was just another animal. This was well before I realized just how important a species the dolphin is. She was an Atlantean. She was an Atlantean princess. And I was very lucky that she chose me, because not I did choose her, but it was a dolphin chooses its handler. It's not us who choose that. It's the dolphin that chooses you, and she chose me. And the connection worked from the day I put her in the pool. Later that came to Herbie, and later that came to other dolphins as well. Because I also had 2 other dolphins called Baby and Scouse. I told you Scouse had no eyes, and Baby was the illegally transported infant. But I was so attuned to these dolphins that I literally I knew when they were sick. I knew when they wanted to talk to me, when they wanted to swim, when they wanted a playtime. It was just amazing. And Scouse, remember, I'm talking now not on the Perfect Pair, but my other pair. He had no eyes, and yet I made him the UK's top dolphin. Now, I made him that way because I understood him, because he couldn't see me, his connection was sharper than any other. And it was the one sad and it was desperately sad thing is that when I walked, Scouse had no one, and of course no one to understand him, and he was considered, how can I put it, he was considered just a waste, a money eating fish machine that nobody could work, because nobody had the empathy to work him,
Right.
and nobody had the love to engage him. So he was a lonely little dolphin, and in the end that dolphin died a terrible death. And this is typical of the aqua circus. Remember, this is when you've outlived your usefulness, you are gone by any means possible. And that dolphin died. And I, talking about the connection, I had left the dolphin industry then, and I'd refused the killer whale job, as we spoke about earlier. And I was working back again as a sign writer and illustrator. And then I got the connection. My mind was still active. It was trawling the dolphin radio, as I called it, waiting for a contact. And I got the contact from Scouse, and he was crying for me to come back. Now, I left Scouse at Real Dolphinarium, but I knew where that contact was coming from. It was coming from Knowsley Safari Park, at least 2 hours away from where I'd last seen him. I went to Knowsley Safari Park. I was going to go that day, but I couldn't because my dad had a big job booked and we had to do it. And I said, look, I don't care what we've got booked tomorrow, I'm going. And he was saying, well, they won't let you in because of all the trouble with you and the manager, and you're gone now. I said, it doesn't matter, I've got to go. I went up to Knowsley Safari Park and I walked in, and there was a tarpaulin sheet on the walkway, and Scouse was under it. He was dead.
Oh, no.
He died that night when he'd been calling me, and they found a razor blade in his gullet.
No. Oh my gosh.
So the only way that could have been administered was through a fish. You call it loading fish. When you give dolphins vitamins, you shove them down the gills, you load down the gills. Somebody had loaded that in. And you can imagine.
Someone killed him.
And they could, yeah, because he was useless, deliberately. It was a deliberate murder of an Atlantean. Something, as I said, which is not uncommon.
No.
Not uncommon. It happened to another dolphin that I'd been with. And not only that, all the handlers knew it had happened. So this was a regular occurrence. And it was all done with the blessing of the vets.
Mm-hmm.
Because the vets are in the pockets of the venue that pays them.
It's all about money. It's the same thing.
It's money.
In the zoos, and they do culling with animals at the zoos when there's too many of them, and
yeah,
and it goes on and on and on, right? Because
it does. And as I said, it's when you this is the true face of the aqua circus. So when you hear the propaganda that Marineland and all the rest of them are giving out, and happy dolphins and all the rest of it, you know, it's a lie. This has been going on for decades, this spin. And everybody who buys a ticket to a dolphin show is part of this abuse.
That's right. If you know, you can't unknow it. And
that's right.
You continue to willingly, go to things like this and give money to it, you are contributing to the suffering of these great beings. And there's just really no other way around it. And I was wondering, what is the life expectancy of a dolphin in the wild that is not otherwise being harmed in some way? Do you know what the natural expectancy is?
Yeah. Well, in the aqua circus, in the early aqua circus, when I was there, that was the early 1970s. a dolphin could be bought then for £3,000 English pounds. So there was a lot of money around, and when the dolphin died, you just got another one. You just replaced it. This is why you see so many flippers, because they mask the mortality rate of the exchange rate of the dolphins that are entering the pool.
Right.
This is why you see so many. The actual lifespan was 18 months to 3.5 years in those early days. The lifespan of a dolphin in the wild could be as much as 70 years.
That's incredible.
They're living longer now because obviously filtration is it's like sending a rocket to the moon. So filtration has improved immensely. However, they are still not living a full life. Their lifespan is still cut, and I would say probably 25%. It's cut 25% now. You only ever hear the good stories of how long a dolphin has lived. You never hear the bad ones.
No, of course not. And if they're naming them the same name, it's so you think, oh, this dolphin's just living the longest, most wonderful, absolutely fabulous life, which is not the case at all, is it?
No.
As we know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to ask you both, what is your hope and wishes for writing this book series? What is your...
Well, the hope was, we didn't want to preach to the converted. We didn't even want to preach at all. We wanted to show people the true nature of a dolphin. And we hoped that it would get out, people would read it, the general public would read it, people who would unwittingly go to a show when they go abroad on holiday, they would read it and they would know not to go not to buy a ticket. And we're not even talking just about dolphinaria, captive facilities, any captive facility, including swim with dolphin programs or even therapy. Some people are using dolphins now as therapy. Well, it might be therapy for the person, but it's certainly not therapy for the dolphin. It's an unnatural state. It can't indulge in natural behaviour. It never feels the ocean. I mean, most of these dolphins race ships and they put them in a concrete tank. And some of them, if they're troublesome, are just left to languish alone. They don't even get the contact. So we had hoped to encourage people to stop visiting captive facilities wherever. Now, you're always going to get the people who, even if they've read the books, the selfish ones, who don't care as long as they get their fun. But those people, they will abuse any animal and any human that they can as long as it suits them. So but the other people, there are the vast majority of people just don't know. And that's what we hoped. We hoped really to get the message out and close captive facilities globally.
Yeah. Education. Yeah. That is the word. And as I said, I mean, I know you're very kindly giving us this interview, but I will give an interview to anybody from the States or from anywhere around the world freely to push this home. It's not about selling books, it's about selling the truth. And this is what it boils down to. That's the bottom end of it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 1,000%, and I hope that this will help bring some more attention to this world, the dark underbelly of the dolphinarium world, and hopefully bring more exposure for the truth. So we'll just keep pushing this. And how have your lives personally unfolded since you left the dolphin entertainment world, David, and then also after writing these books? How have your lives been affected? Have they at all, since you're basically whistleblowers?
Yeah, well, our lives have been affected because the books the first book was written about 14 years ago, not far short, 14 years now. The Perfect Pair, The Enchanted Mirror. That is the first book in the trilogy. And we have been fighting ever since with activists, first of all. And that's the crazy thing. Activists trying to shut you up because they don't like you to come on the scene and shall we say, challenge their expert status. And it's a sad state of affairs because when I was working for the aqua circuses, the joke was, and I say this, the joke was, don't bother about the animal activists. They will always fall out and tear each other to pieces. And that's why they don't get anywhere. That was said 57 years ago, and it's still happening today.
Yeah, not much
So
change.
that's why nothing changes.
I've heard that from other activists, like, animal advocacy people from different areas, land animals, ocean animals. It doesn't really matter, but that there is this infighting, which is really just muddying the waters and not doing a service to the animals and true conservation at all whatsoever. People need to take their ego and put it aside and give it the back seat and give their higher self the front seat and ride shotgun with that and say, you're leading with your heart, you're doing things with your moral compass and not the ego and not for your own self-serving purposes and needs. So I can imagine how challenging this must be for you.
Oh, it's been, as I say, anybody with an apath of sense would have given this up a long time ago. But basically, both Tracy and I are like a dog with a bone. We will not allow them to shut us up. And I can back anything I have said to you today up with proof. And this is the reason why our books were so, shall we say, blocked in this country when this story first came out. It is easy now, I've got to say that. We are having people coming on that were one time, shall we say, enemies, or they were viewed as enemies, who have now changing the tune. Maybe it's because they're seeing the planetary change, that we're all in a mess. I don't know. But they are changing the tune. Or maybe it's that the old guard that started this fight have moved on to other exploitation behaviors. I don't know. But of course, when we got into the actual museum, when the museum took us, that was a huge boost for us, because all the calling, all the finger wagging and all the rest of it stopped, because it was proven. The story was fact checked and proven. And we actually got the press in the Yorkshire press who came on, and they were fabulous. They suddenly exposed the secret pool. They wanted to talk to me. Now, this is something that the press wouldn't touch. We were actually told by somebody who worked in the press that there was an unofficial UK media block on the story. They were told they couldn't cover anything. This appears to be changing.
Wonderful.
So we just have to see how it goes.
That's great. It sounds like maybe the worm is turning, as they say, and we're headed in the right direction. So I think that's fabulous. And I have no doubt that it's just going to get the wind in your sails will be behind you and pushing this story forward. And I will be with you all the way, cheering you on.
Yeah, well, it's interviews like this, Erica, like you're giving us now, that will help to put the wind in our sails. Yeah.
Well, we're here. All About Animals Radio is behind you, and we're happy to be a part of this. So for as grateful as you are, we are equally as grateful, and we will always continue to do good work like this with together with people like you. So thank you. And so I wanted to ask you, in your minds, how can we all be better balanced with nature and aquatic life? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for starters, we've just got to stop poisoning the oceans. Now, I know that everybody knows this anyway, because again, as David said, the mess the planet is in now, it's being repeatedly pushed on television. But you've got to respect the oceans. I don't know if you remember a few years back, there was an incident where a baby dolphin was taken from the sea and passed round all the people on the beach while they had selfies taken with it.
My God.
And it died.
No doubt it died. Yeah.
Poor little thing died. Now, these people, you think, why can't they see what they're doing? You've got to stop interfering with marine life. You've got to stop poisoning the oceans with your chemicals and your drug companies, your farming, your agriculture, which is it's poisoning everything. It's not just poisoning them, it's poisoning us.
Yes.
So many, cancers springing up everywhere. Cancers that were deemed to be very rare are springing up everywhere. And it's just a toxic world we're living in. I think, especially with children, they always say the sins of the fathers are visited upon the children, don't they?
Yeah.
And look what a legacy we're leaving to our children now.
Well, I think that as someone who has two children, two boys, 14 and 15, and I look at their friends, and I'm so impressed and grateful for them today, because I do feel like these are the star seeds coming to this planet to change things. And as you say, you do see that there are changes happening, and I see it also as well every single day. And so I do want to put a positive spin with all of this said, because it's important to educate everybody, and it is important to remind people to tap into their empathy and do the right thing. And at the same time, we should also, kind of have hope and let there be positive energy towards that, because without that, then what else do we have? And so the world is changing. It's certainly not changing fast enough, but I agree with everything that you said. We all have to be responsible stewards of this planet, and it starts with each of us individually, and so the collective can do better, and so the world can do better. And do you see the dolphinarium industry changing if more people start to do the right thing?
Oh, most certainly. The industry runs on money. So no money means no ticket. No ticket means no shows. It is quite simple. It really is. That is how simple it is. These people, these conglomerates that run these shows, it's not about dolphin welfare. It's not about education. It's about money. Plain and simple. It's about money.
If we
don't feed
industry,
if we don't feed the fire will die.
Right.
And this is what we've got to do. We've got to try and cut this. Let me say this. Many people today won't go to a circus, in other words, to see performing tigers, performing lions and elephants. They won't do that. I keep referring to the dolphin industry as the aqua circus.
Yeah, agreed.
So if they won't go to see a land circus, why are they paying to see an aqua circus? Because it's exactly the same thing. It's abuse.
It is. It's abuse, and it's enslavement. These creatures are enslaved to do this work, and are abused along the way until they just perish. So
that's right. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. For everyone listening, spread the word, pass along the show, and remind everyone that we must starve industries like this so that they just go away, and let the light prevail. And in order to support your work, which obviously aims to end this dark world of the dolphin entertainment industry for good, what is the best way for folks to purchase your book series? And could you also, David and Tracy, tell us the names of the 3 books that make up this beautiful trilogy?
Okay, right. Well, we've got the this is the first book. If your people can see it.
So, and not everybody will watch, and some will be listening on the
Okay.
podcast. But for those
Okay.
who can see it, you absolutely hold it up so folks.
Okay. Well, this is the Perfect Pair, the Enchanted Mirror.
And that's the book 1.
That's book 1.
Okay.
This is the Perfect Pair, the Mirror Cracks.
Perfect.
Book 2.
That's book 2.
And this is the Perfect Pair, Shards from the Mirror. That is book 3. This is the heartbreak book. Believe me, it really is. It was for us anyway. The actual subtitle is Dolphinariums don't just break dolphins, they break people too.
Yeah. No
And
doubt.
that's exactly what this industry did to me. I've got a lot to make up for. And I'm hoping that people like yourself and all the people out there who are listening to this podcast will help us, because we don't accept donations. I totally refuse all donations, and we are offered them constantly because we are not a charity. So all I'm asking those people to do, if they want a very good story and they want to get this out, then go to Kindle, Amazon Kindle, because it would cost too much to post the actual physical book if you're outside the UK. But go to Amazon Kindle. It's cheap, it's affordable, and the more people buy it and read it, the more that message will get out. And if it gets out, you never know, it could go to film. And if it goes to film, I guarantee it will mortally wound the captive industry.
Absolutely. And that's the point. We want the arrow straight through the heart of this industry. We want it to be done, and we want it to perish. And
that's right.
You've been doing for all this time to these beautiful, amazing creatures. And so I thank you for all of your good work. And I thank you for your time today. I'm grateful to you both for writing this important book series and for coming on to discuss it and the Cruel Dolphin entertainment world. This has been a quite revealing and enlightening time that I've spent with you both. And I'm certain that the people listening will want to help make a difference. And if we all continue using our individual and collective voice to end the suffering of animals, then the new earth will continue expanding in love and light for the greater good of us all. And so to that, I say to our beloved audience, we are grateful to you for tuning in today and to part 1 as well. And until next time, thank you, Tracy and David. You both have a standing invitation here, and probably on any show on All About Animals Radio. I thank you so much. And until next time, I'll keep envisioning a world where we are all at peace and happiness and free from suffering. That's for all of us.
Amen to that.
Well, thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
This has been Erica Salvamini for the Rising Lioness podcast on All About Animals Radio. A special thank you to Chris Corley for generously lending us his song, Zero Gravity, for the Rising Lioness podcast theme. Please take a moment to write a review for our show, as it helps others to find us. Please also support our guests and their work, All About Animals Radio, and our social networks. Doing this further supports the animals and their advocates too, thereby making you an Animal Kingdom warrior also. You can find our links on the Rising Lioness podcast page. Until next time, in the words of Sharon Nunez, Animal Equality President, remember this: the small actions of one passionate individual can create a butterfly effect, leading to a movement that has the power to change the world. Please use your voice for the animals today.